Holy hell, folks. Just when you think things can't get even crazier, this story might be the most insane thing I have seen probably this month. The Daily Beast just released this exclusive reporting about this guy. His name is Thomas Fugate. And his name is actually Thomas Fugate. I keep saying Fugate, so please excuse the mispronunciation. And he is Donald Trump's terror chief. Which is ironic because apparently he was being probed by the cops 4 years ago for terrorizing a 16-year-old boy and another 16-year-old girl while he was 18, a fully grown adult, for a spat that they were involved in because the three of them were in a love triangle. It is so insane, and we'll dive into the horrifying messages that he sent to these underage kids in just a second. But first, here's a little backstory about who this kid is and how he got to the insane position of power that he's in right now.
ProPublica reports President Trump has appointed this fellow to run the government's main hub for combating terrorism. Thomas Fugate is 22 years old. Most recently was the head of his school's Model United Nations.
Okay. Look, I don't want to pick on this guy and assume he's completely unqualified for this job. I'm sure he's going to develop a comprehensive plan to defeat ISIS right after his mom picks him up from karate practice.
I would like to introduce you to a truly remarkable young man. Not since Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were kids have we ever seen anything quite like it. I mean, from grocery clerk to lawnmower to head of the Center for Prevention Programs and Partnerships at the Department of Homeland Security, all in a few months. Meteoric doesn't even begin to describe it. The superstar's name is Thomas Fugate, and he just turned 22. Now, you needn't be embarrassed that you've never heard of him or what the Department for the Prevention of blah, 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 blah does, because he doesn't either. As you know, America the Possible provides Americans with the inside facts about how America works and what's going on in Washington, one microbyte at a time. So here are the facts about Thomas Fugate. Before his big promotion, his whole career in government totaled 4 months as a special assistant in a sub-office somewhere in the bowels of Homeland Security. In his new job, he will be responsible for leading the fight against terrorism and combating violent extremism. If that resume makes you a little queasy, I suggest you get hold of the people you elected and tell them you expect them to take a good, long look at a system that sounds, well, a little loony and more than a little dangerous. Not an immediate solution, but at least they'll know somebody is watching.
So not only does Trump appoint this 22-year-old nobody, an ex-gardener and grocery store assistant, to lead the U.S. terror prevention, it also turns out the guy is a huge piece of human garbage. Listen to this, and I know it sounds petty, and even Kristi Noem tried to say, oh, this was just a high school spat. Like, it's not a big deal. It's a big friggin' deal when you hear what he said to these kids and the whole situation. So, the Daily Beast really took a dig at him here after saying that they were the first to report that he didn't have any previously held experience or anything like that. They say now the Daily Beast can disclose that Fugate does have law enforcement experience. He was investigated less than 4 years ago in connection with a teenage love triangle gone wrong. The details of the alleged offense appear to be very much those of teenage life, involving love rivalry, high school teasing, text messages, and immature language. But the fact that they took place so recently raises new questions about Fugate's fitness for his role. We'll read through this damning message in just a second, but just so you have the backstory here, according to a bulletin published on June 22nd by his own department, while officers in his Cedar Park, Texas hometown were spending time on 18-year-old Fugate in 2020, their colleagues nationwide were working on disrupting multiple potentially lethal Iranian-backed plots. The police investigation was into allegedly threatening messages Fugate, who then went by Trey rather than Thomas, sent to a love rival. Fugate was 18 and dating a 16-year-old girl. His rival was also 16. Thankfully, they are not naming the rival or the girl he was dating. Cedar Park police confirmed to the Daily Beast that they had received a call from the 16-year-old boy's mom. A source with knowledge of the incident said it was in December of 2020, not that long ago, when Fugate was a high school senior. A spokeswoman for the department declined to elaborate on what action was taken, but the source said they just talked to the dads and everyone agreed to chill out. So not only does he send this insane message that we'll see in just a second, but then this 18-year-old guy, Fugate, who's picking on 16-year-olds, has to have his dad come in and save the day. How the hell are you supposed to save us from terrorist attacks if your dad's got to fight your battles with 16-year-olds? Now, they don't get into the details of what was going on there. I can't even imagine how terrible to be with a guy like this, the situation has to be. So this is what Trey sends to the other 16-year-old boy. Listen here, you fat piece of... Because I'm only going to say this once, to your dumb ass. Blank is one of the most nicest, sweetest, and most caring girls that has ever walked this earth. She's far better than you deserve, and in spite of all your... I'm not sure what this word is. I kind of think it's fuckery. Being the piece of human S you are, she still wishes the best for you. Yet all you can do is bitch and moan and knowingly defame her to the entire school. You're not an effing man. You are a pathetic, spoiled child who needs a beating. Holy crap. Blank had the option between us two, and you lost because you are inferior. Not sure which F slur or word this is, but go suck it up, you little bitch. You had your chance, you fucked it up, and now you're gone. Accept how she feels like a man, be a good human being, and go your own ways respectfully, instead of bitching and moaning to hurt her. She didn't cheat, she tried everything with you, but you were less than me, and you continue to prove that daily. And look, yeah, this seems very high school, just kind of whatever, but he is threatening to beat a child and literally says that the kid's a child in the message. I don't know what's worse, the fact that this guy is sending these messages and now he's our terror chief, or that the girl apparently ended up with him. But then the most humiliating part of the whole thing is that Chrissy Nome has to come in and fight this kid's battles and completely miss the plot entirely. A spokeswoman for Fugate's boss, Christine Nome, confirmed that he had been part of a teenage spat, which was resolved not by Fugate, then 18 and legally an adult, but again by his father. The spokesperson said, quote, how desperate and embarrassing for the Daily Beast that they're trying to warp a silly high school spat into something newsworthy. There was no investigation by the police. The teenage drama was handled by the parents, who all agreed this was a misunderstanding. Teenagers are allowed to be teenagers. And after the Daily Beast requested public records of the incident, Cedar Park City Attorney's Office stated in a letter to the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton that there was a, quote, investigation of an alleged injury to a child, in direct contradiction of what DHS has claimed. And I think even that response misses the point entirely. Like, it's sure, yes. Is it horrible that this kid said these things to a 16-year-old while dating another 16-year-old? Does it show how immature he is? Yes. But that's the point. Why the fuck is he in charge of counterterrorism? This was 5 years ago. I don't know how much growing he's done in 5 years. It doesn't seem like a whole lot. Anyway, this is the Trumpian world that we live in now, and that's just how it is. Because Elon Musk can be in the government and then get kicked out. Trump can be on the Epstein list and then everyone has to forget about it. And then if you have an issue with a 22-year-old running the terrorism department, berating a child over a love triangle that got investigated by the cops, it was so severe, then, oh, you're the liberal, woke, leftist, communist, Marxist, buzzword, bad people that are politicizing too much and making everything blah, blah. I can't fucking stand it anymore.